main computer. Everything's good. I got Streamlabs. And with Streamlabs, we're going to be on YouTube, Twitch, Odyssey. I believe we're also now going to be on Facebook and possibly TikTok. We're going to be back on here very soon. I'll be on a regular schedule, predictable. It'll make it a lot easier to build up a consistent number of think tankers. And I want to emphasize the live streams far more than off live research because we have a bigger pool of contributors. Just updating everybody here, though. Yes, computer is repaired. No more choppy live streams. That's just been a thing lately. It's like gremlins overtook it. And to be quite honest, it's probably just because it was an hour that I was using, and I had pretty much put it through hell for like 18 months straight. What's up, King Ravana? No, that's a laundromat. I don't know what's going on over there. There's a lot of fires, but it's usually because of the nomad population. They tend to start fires here. What's on your neck of the woods? Well, this is a desert. There's no woods here. Now, yeah, that's another thing. I deleted Discord for strategic reasons because we're trying to maintain our think tank as a open platform, going through the media fakery of the day, coming up with our best explanations. And Discord was something of a honeypot. It always had agendas, whether it was culture war stuff, Nazi stuff, anti-vax stuff. It seemed like the last few months, the only thing Discord was a bunch of, I understand people have different worldviews, but we're specifically here focusing on an objective breakdown of mass media fakery and explaining it. And we've had to distance ourselves from explanations that no longer serve. But some dogmatic types don't want to let go of the answers that they feel are correct. And I use the word feel, not know. And I'm really here to know. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And it's occurred to me that the major part of the paradigm shift is going to be letting go of all those outmoded dogmas and orthodoxies, and some people can't. And I understand that, but I want to cut them off. In other words, I think it's important to not give equal time and consideration to wrong answers because of someone's emotional attachment to these. So, for example, religion. There's a lot of people who have their different religious convictions. Well, what does your god or goddess or simulation have to say about the fake news every night? Literally nothing. But for the longest time, people were under the misconception that we're looking at supernatural when we're looking at propaganda, manipulation. So we're moving into a more objective phase here, and the next phase is above ground. We need our IPR reporters, our press pass reporters. We need to do our deep dives in our original research. It's not going to happen in these dank internet hellholes, which are just honeypots for the most part. And I think we get the most dynamic conversations and information through our live interactions. So that's what I'm moving on to here. I just realized I'm not even present in Discord. We use Gilded for research. I broke away from Discord after our main account got shut down. It was too much of a disappointment. Years of work shut down by one individual. And it wasn't even malice. In his case, I believe it was, he legitimately was anti-vax. And I don't have a problem with anti-vaxxers. You have your belief systems. You have your paranoias. You have your fears that were handed to you by alternative media. That's fine. But those were foot bullets put there to censor us. And I'm not going to set us up for that again. I don't want to lean too much into non-live think tanks and research centers, which then can be shut down. And additionally, those types of places become hotbeds for drama. And I really want to break away from that. I think I erred by starting these live voice. I was doing these voice chats where it was like a group chat. It was going to be a separate podcast, but it was not very productive. It became very much like a debate. And when you have a debate, an honest debate, there should be a winner and a loser. But if every conversation starts off trying to refute the same bad claims, then you devolve into more or less force, belief versus belief. Whoever can use emotional appeals or peer pressure or whatever it takes, logical fallacies. I mean, I had someone tell me that Occam's razor supports the idea that everything is the result of a simulation. And that is the opposite of parsimony. It just contains so many implicit leaps of logic that I just said, okay, this has to stop. If we do it live, things are more transparent. People will say things to you in a direct message, one-on-one, or in a group of 5 or 6 that they wouldn't say with a huge crowd. And that's because they know they're wrong. So I'm trying to get away from manipulation. I'm trying to get away from rhetoric. And I want to stick with logic. And I want to stick with the facts. And I want to stand on what we've discerned. We have arrived at answers that are far better than the answers that had sufficed for the last 20 years. And I think we need to stand on it. We don't need to be ashamed of being correct. And we can't be afraid of telling other people that their answers are wrong or flawed, which is often the case. You know, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there are no Mandela effects. I hate to trigger people, but there's no chemtrails. Sorry if I disturb your faith in relativism, but there is an objective reality and solipsism cannot protect you from it. But anyway, I'm going to be live later tonight. This is just an update. I want to say thank you to all of you who super chatted last month because my new computer, the Streamlabs, and most of the internet bill has been covered by that. Another change, since we're moving into this, because I remember when I started this channel, we didn't have Patreon. I wasn't into it. I didn't want to do a membership-based thing. I thought we should be driven by commerce, selling books, by expanding and growth. It's really easy to somewhat stagnate and rely upon a consistent monthly when really we should be looking towards exponential growth. I mean, we're looking at creating a parallel media. We already have. It's small right now, but massive potential. I never really spend time talking about it because it's impossible to overstate it. There's a huge demand, a huge consumer need. There's a lot of people who want what we're bringing out here. And what we're bringing out here is demystified media for people who have bullshit detectors. And who don't have to act like we have the moral low ground because we call fake fake. Not to mention all the people who revealed themselves as being addicted to the brainwashing. Like, there are people who are cheerleading like, wow, the J6ers got liberated by Trump. What do you mean? A bunch of crisis actors? They probably got a pay raise for lying to you. You know, if you're taking sides, if you're within the political horseshoe, you're deceived. And we want to get the number of deceived in our think tank to be the minority. It's useful to have deceived, brainwashed dogmatists around to understand their arguments, reverse engineer them, and correct those arguments, or at least show why one answer is better than the other. You can't force people to believe anything. People are going to go with what they want. I mean, look at the final experiment. Antarctica's flat. It's about all you can say. But most people who don't want to hear information that contradicts what they've already accepted, they just let it go. And the world lets you do this. The world stage is so subjective. You can pick and choose. Choose your own apocalypse. Yeah, let's talk about Greenland and Trump too, because that's all very weird. And all this focus on the South Pole, Where's the talk about the North Pole? What's up with the... I mean, I'm not saying I believe that there's a 33-mile circumference magnetic mountain in the center of everything, but the person most well known for the globe projection, the Mercator projection, Gerardus Mercator and John Dee, seem to think there is something to it. And if they just made it up, I want to know why. I think it's an interesting question. But yeah, we'll be back on tonight. I was just getting stuff started. Is Trump a Mason? Well, he didn't swear on the Bible, so I'd say no. By the way, I was listening to the oath. One hand in the Bible, one hand... Compare the oath that J.D. Vance took to the Master Mason oath. And it's verbatim. It's practically verbatim. But is Trump a Mason? I don't know if that word even means anything, if it suffices as an explanation. People say, is it Masons? Is it Jesuits? Is it Israel? Is it reptilians? And like these different explanations or scapegoats are always going to fall short. It's not a whodunit, it's a what is it. And we're barely getting a grasp of what it is. And I think there's also this other tendency for people to want closure. They want things to be simple, like myths. Just tell these really simplistic stories to make it comprehensible. And I think we need to reject that. We don't have all the answers. We don't need to pretend like we do. We don't need to run around saying, oh, people are waking up. We're getting the truth. No, we're not. People are not waking up. Not at all. There's nothing indicates that whatsoever. People are entrained to MSM, MSM plus. Worldview warfare has succeeded. Humanity has been conquered. It happened a long time ago. The idea that there's going to be like some kind of change or revolution or some great awakening is ludicrous. Like, oh, Trump's wearing a purple tie. He's going to wake us up. No one's going to wake anybody up. Whatever happened to Q? You have Trump yucking it up with Obama. Hillary's laughing when he's talking about renaming the Gulf of Mexico. They're all buddies. What happened to this whole deep state QAnon fantasy? Nothing. Nothing came of it. They wasted 8 or 9 years of their lives obsessing over Melania Trump's wardrobe, projecting onto Barron Trump. Oh, he's going to be the next king of the world. Barron Trump's the real, he's a time traveler. It's like all this fan fiction kind of needs to stop. And that's what it comes down to. There's a lot of user-generated fan fiction. People live in their own fictional universes. And I'm not trying to eliminate these fictional universes. I'm just describing them. We live on planet Netflix. That much is clear. But things can't... I think we're vindicated. The Metascript model, I mean, everything that I said about the madness has come true. Musk doing the Sig Heil, and that's hilarious. So there's Musk doing Hail Hitler, Sig Heil, Roman salute. So Roman salute. Maybe it ties into his Pope Constantine. But they're saying, oh no, that's not a Hitler salute, that's just autism. Sorry, I don't think autistic people run around doing a Sig Heil salute twice. And given that Elon Musk is the product of, his character is partially the product of Wernher von Braun's work, well, there you have a Nazi connection. It's all very interesting, though, how so many people are mad about it. Oh, it's a Nazi salute. Other people are apologists for it, saying, no, it's just autism. The ADL comes out, and the ADL says, no, he was just overexcited. So according to the ADL, you can do the Roman salute if you're autistic, if you're excited. I've never been so excited that I've done that before. Swiss says, we were taught in elementary school, they call it Greenland to fool people because it's mostly really ice. Likewise, we learned the opposite of Iceland. Who are they trying to fool? Yeah, I don't take anything for granted with regard to history or the news, which becomes history. So the idea that we should take the maps as objectively reliable. Yeah, we can trust the cartography. We can't trust the history. We can't trust the news. We can't trust the daily deluge of lies, but trust the maps. Really? Like real estate, one of the main things they want to control, they're going to just be honest about it. So the final experiment does nothing for me because it's built upon too many too many presumptions. For one, the ball earth model versus flat model was always fallacious. Neither of them are supportable in my view. I think flat earthers and globe earthers are the same thing. They have a model first approach. We don't have enough information to have a big picture. We have to stick with the complex I don't know. We can't have the simple, oh, we live on this and it looks just like this little mobile they put above my crib when I was a kid, the little solar system. No, we can't lead with the model, especially because space has been falsified. If it weren't for all the cartoons and the special effects and the buffoonery from NASA and all their science fiction fantasy, then maybe they would have something. But if we don't have a good explanation or a good understanding of what space is and space travel is, if we can't verify personally that orbit's a real thing, then there's no reason to say that the globe model is a complete model. We don't have enough information. And so this Greenland thing just raises a very valid point. I mean, we use the word news bent, like news benders. They bend the news, they bend history, they bend everything. They bend the horizon. I mean, I wish it were that simple, that they could just show me a picture of the globe and these orbiting satellites and the space junk and I'd believe it, but I'm not that simple. Like, I'm not convinced by cartoons. I'm not a child. And I see these gloobers gloating over the final experiment, and it's like, you guys believe all the news is real. You're completely naive and brainwashed. You have no idea you're in a doomsday cult. And they've accepted this modern God construct. So nobody won a debate. It was fallacious from the beginning. The final experiment was a huge waste of money and resources in terms of time and attention, and it's a major diversion. You know what they were diverting people from? All right, I'm going to hand out a couple wrenches here, and then I'm going to head back. It's like 10 degrees out here. And I said a long time ago that it's never been flat or round. It's always open or closed systems. And we live in a closed system of information. And until they, in the conversation, an honest discussion about media fakery and special effects, it will never get anywhere. And you can't separate fake news above from fake news below. If you're going to say the moon landing's faked, but you don't also point out the fakery on the ground, you're 1 foot in the matrix, 1 foot out. And I think there's plenty to also suggest that the entire flat earth society and flat earth movement was controlled opposition to set up a false debate. It's not even that interesting of a question to me. Like, if people are all about the flat earth or the globe earth, it's like, really, you're misdirected. You're misdirected. The model, the mental model world is the real target here. They've inserted a Truman Show into your head, and they gave you mind aids to keep you susceptible to programming. If you haven't undone that, cosmography is the least of your concerns, or should be. Conscious Reality says, why does the water in a snow globe settle but does not continue to float? Yeah, there's some great arguments. You know, the water seeking its own level thing, that will never make a difference because their whole model assumes its correctness. No, living on a globe would be awesome. I would enjoy a little bit more stellar parallax. I'd like space clouds. Like, explain to me why I can't see the horizon 5 miles away if there's a dust storm, but I can see millions of miles away and there's no obstructions from all the cosmic dust, even though we get tons of dust hitting the earth every day. Like, really, there should be clouds blocking out constellations. considering the aggregate of dust between your eyeballs and something a trillion light years away, there should be some stellar occultation from dust. But there never is. Like, where's your space clouds? There's no space clouds. That's bullshit. And yet you get all these colorful pictures from NASA, and there's all kinds of cool space clouds and nebula. They're shaped like things. So there's horses, there's skulls, there's hearts, there's snowmen. But never do we have clouds on a clear night in space. I think there should be. All right, well, I want to say thanks again for helping me get this new computer. It's operational. Everything's ready to go. Core Fiction says, truthers admit to having been fooled big time, but won't entertain being currently bamboozled. Yeah, that's the big trick, is that they get their egos massaged. They're like, oh yeah, you're so smart. You're awake. You saw through the fake news. You see through the lies. You're smart. You're fighting the info war. It's like, no, you just went from the main room, the main cave where they project shadows on the wall. Now you're in the next cave where they project alternative shadows on the wall. You haven't left the cave. But this is something of a counterculture thing we're doing here. We're going against alternative media and truther culture, which believes in all the false flags. They believe these things are false flags. They believe in all of the anti-positions. If you're not anti, you're control. I mean, it's a no-brainer to be anti the pro position. Whatever they're saying, obviously it's false. But to take the contrived opposite position, that's foolish. It's just as foolish. Yeah, the troopers do feel like they're VIP, and they're basically do-it-yourself brainwashing. Like, okay, this group of people aren't going to be fed, so we got to throw breadcrumbs. And when they find the breadcrumbs, they will believe it. And this all goes back to marketing. How if you can make somebody think they discovered something, they're more likely to buy it than if you hand it to them. The words discover. I mean, you have to look at marketing and propaganda as the same thing. And a lot of propaganda and predictive programming is marketing ideas and narratives to you in advance. They sold the political left on Luigi Mangione before he even existed. They sold him in the form of the Joker. They sold the narrative. And people already took their sides. What's up, X322? I'm handing out a few more wrenches. Okay, so my phone's about to die. We'll continue this conversation when I'm back in the office. And I'm going to work on getting a regular schedule. I'm trying to decide if I want to do 6 to 8 or 8 to 10. And then phones will be open as well. Just so much has been happening the last few days, and I've kind of been missing out on the live streams, but no big deal. So thanks again. We'll see you all in the chat.